Hey, I'm Stevie C, and welcome to my Part to Prem save with Leek Town. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We're just going to go through what is a SEGWAY episode, which these saves have been taken from streams that I have been doing on Twitch and on YouTube, which you are welcome to check out the whole long streams. They may get a bit boring, I don't know. There's a lot of hours of content there, but you're welcome to go and check them out if you can't wait for the next episode. But these episodes are hopefully going to be coming out every other day, just to try and get the whole of the streams out there, just in little bite-sized portions, so that you can enjoy it at your leisure. So what we're going to look at today is all those games that I played off stream and how they turned out. But first of all, I wanted to quickly go through a few players who had come and gone. So we are going to have to accept that there's going to be some guys on here that you're going to see. I can't stop it, but you're going to see them, but they're not going to be relevant to what we're talking about today. So I'm going to ignore them, and you're just going to have to pretend you didn't see them. So let's get into it. And the reason we're doing this is because you're going to see guys playing in the matches who you don't recognise if I don't do this. So that's why we're doing this today. So we're going to try and run from September to November, and these are the players who left us to enable us to be able to make these particular moves that we did in the transfer market. So Xander Park is the first one to go. Now you won't be able to see the attributes of these guys because we're so far on into the save now that we can't even remember who these guys are. Never mind the statisticians. So Xander Park was our reserve goalkeeper. He was poached away from us. He was on a non-contract, so we couldn't do anything about that. Julius and Denny was a centre-back who could play left-sided as well. He was a very important player to us, but again, somebody on a non-contract who we couldn't hold on to. So it was a shame to see him go, and a little bit disappointing, if I'm honest. So then we got Abu Bakr in, an 18-year-old, just on loan. He was quite an exciting youngster, but he didn't get too much game time, I don't think. So, but he has certainly come in and helped us out at a time when we needed those extra players. Christy Grogan, he was a very important signature for us. He was the replacement for Ndeni, and actually is proving, as you will see in these games, to be quite a useful acquisition. We did sign another player called Lawrence Ford, but he has since retired, so we can't show you him. Zain Sadiq was a left-back who proved reasonably useful to us, and yeah, not a lot to say about him, really. He was just one of those guys who was there as a backup to Ollie Haywood. Kingston Simbai, he was a right-back, not a centre-back. 5'4", you were not going to use him as a centre-back, but he was a right-back, got quite a lot of game time for us, especially when Buckley was having to be used over on the opposite side for any length of time. So, yeah, Kingston Simbai, he was quite a useful acquisition too. You're going to see plenty of him during the course of this SEGWAY save. So, as we saw in our previous episodes, we got down to the FA Cup first qualifying round where we played against Lower Breck. Our form was absolutely fantastic by that point. Lots of greens all the way down here as we were sitting top of the table and looking really pretty. Now let's get on and see how we managed to get through September, October, into the beginning of November before we pick up these streams again. Our first game was against Mortpeth, and we had the original squad, I think, together still at this point, except for Park. Xander Park had gone. A lovely pullback from Heath. Buckley had squared it to Heath, and Heath pulled it back. Reeves was able to knock it in 1-0. And a direct free kick from Shenton, and what a fantastic finish that was. An hour into the game, and the game was put beyond doubt, really. This is how the stats for the Mortpeth home game against Leek Town. 42% to them, 58% to us. Shots 20 to us, 7 to them. 11 shots on target to their 1. I think the right team won overall with nearly 2 on the XG. I would have liked to have seen us score a few more goals than that, but a comfortable victory nonetheless, and we stay comfortable at the top of the league. Here we are once again in the league, and we play Stockton Town, who scored in the 20th minute through Purewell. I have no idea if that's how you say his name, but Purewell with the goal from the far post header. Then 10 minutes later, Sweet is put through by a sweet pass, and Stockton Town double their lead, 2-0. And so our league form takes a little bit of a hit as we once again controlled the game, but we didn't have a single shot on target. 57% possession, 14 shots, but not a single one on target. And there lies the reason we lost to Stockton Town. Next, we saw Radcliffe at their ground in the FA Cup second qualifying round. McFadden scored the first goal, almost identical to the Stockton Town goal, a header at the far post. And then here we are early into the second half, and McFadden again involved, charges forward, swings the ball in to an unmarked Hope, who had no hope of really missing that, as Radcliffe double their lead and go 2-0 up. And that would be the final goal of this tie and the end of our FA Cup aspirations. As you can see, this was one of the first times we'd been dominated by a team, and we only had 42% possession. We did have a lot of shots, admittedly, and at least we got 6 shots on target this time. But it was a disappointing match, hard one to take. We were out of the cup. Gainsborough Trinity in the league next, and we came up against them at home as well, and were disappointed to fall behind to a Preston goal in the 50th minute of the game, and it was beginning to look a little bit worrying. Foxer Candy collected a long ball forward, and Heath was managed to supply an equaliser just 10 minutes after we'd gone behind. Leek Town managed to salvage a draw against Gainsborough Trinity. So again, if we looked at the lineup, there were still no new players popping up yet. We're getting very close to when the signings began to happen. But this was a decent 1-1 draw against a difficult team to play against. Gainsborough Trinity, very even in the stats, and I would say that a 1-1 draw was probably a fair result. Our next match was against Stockbridge Park Steels. And in the 5th minute, Bispo Martinez got a simple little ball to Rawson, who was able to stick it past Visser. A little bit disappointed that he got beaten at such close quarters. And with less than 15 minutes on the clock, they were once again breaking forward with a good cross in and Poole winning the header down to the post. And that was 2-0. Stockbridge Park Steels beginning to look a very difficult team to beat until Edwards managed to win a header and Weir was able to slot it in from close range. 2-1, we're back in the game. Into the second half and in the 66th minute. Leek Town on the attack. Hurst picks it up on the wing, plays it inside to Foxer Candy. Weir held it out. Rubio goes back to Edwards. It was a fantastically flowing move where Buckley and Reeves involved. Buckley again gets the ball, goes back to Edwards. Buckley then skins his man outside of the right foot. Beautiful ball in, and Foxer Candy gets a brilliant goal. Superbly worked, 2-2, and what a game. Then, just as Leek had been pushing for that winner, all of a sudden, Stockbridge broke down the upper end. Greslak with a shot, it was well blocked by a defender, then the keeper, but Poole at the third attempt was able to slot home. A disappointment, devastation for Leek Town. As you can see, Leek Town were probably the better of the two teams. It was a very close affair. 6 shots to 7 on target, but look at the XG difference. Nearly an entire goal in the XG. So that would be the main reason why you'd be disappointed that Leek Town lost that game. And the final game of a very busy September where Leek Town had played so many games, it was getting a little bit ridiculous. But Ollie Shenton with a new man, Sadiq, able to charge forward. The ball was crossed and Hayden Campbell tucks it home. He was shining like a candle. But no, a good goal from Hayden Campbell. So things got even better in the 42nd minute of the game when we saw some of the new players getting involved once again. Reeves playing the ball around, gives it to Edwards. Comes back to Grogan, one of the new guys, who gives it to Sadiq, also one of the new guys. Ollie Shenton, Hayden Campbell, Onyeka charges through and slots it home nicely. And if we pause it there, just so that you can see, we also have Simbai playing for us by this point. So 3 new additions joined us in this game, and already we're seeing the fruits of those new additions strengthening the squad with a 2-0 lead in the 42nd minute. Let's carry on. So the ball was disappointingly given away there. Swinglehurst has it in the back. Gives it to Watts, who sends a long ball forward to be picked up by Chapman. And Chapman was able to cut inside, pull it back to Clark, who slotted it home top bins. Can't complain at the quality of the goal, but I'm a little bit disappointed in the inability of the defenders to marshal the guy on the wing. But we were very quick to get ourselves back in the ascendancy. Simbai played it back to Edwards. And then getting it back and playing a long ball, which Onyeka couldn't get through. It's a long highlight. Grogan won a good header, and Hayden Campbell, Connor Heath plays it to Ndenny, who's still here at this point. Grogan wins a header. Shenton, Reeves, Onyeka, Hayden Campbell, Onyeka slots home nicely to give Leek Town the ascendancy again, 3-1. In the 86th minute, an Ollie Shenton free kick. Rubio collects at the edge of the area, the ball sort of pings around, and Ford scores, who is again another one of the new players, one that I'm unable to show you because he has retired from the game, but he managed to introduce himself with a goal on his debut. So as you can see, in the squad, for the first time that day, you had Simbai, Grogan and Sadiq, and Ford, who came on from the bench. In terms of the game, 63% possession, 21 shots, 13 on target, 2.15 XG. I would say 4-1 victory there was quite satisfying. October brought us an FA Trophy third qualifying round against Bromsgrove Sporting. And things got off to a great start as Connor Heath was able to turn and swivel and put us 1-0 up. 13 minutes in, that's a good way to start in our quest for the FA Trophy. On the half-hour mark, Ollie Haywood charges down the left, pulls the ball back. Onyeka plays a nice little pass back to Hurst, and Hurst nearly hit the keeper, who was already diving that way to try and stop Onyeka, but actually still managed to find a goal. So a good start, 2-0. Ollie Shenton from a free kick in the 69th minute of the game played the ball to Onyeka, who gave it back to Shenton. Onyeka then turned on his feet and chipped a beautiful shot into the top corner. I think if I was the manager of Bromsgrove Sporting, I would have been a bit disappointed with my goalkeeper there. But in the 79th minute of the game, they were able to pull one back through Shaw. 3-1. That is how it finished. A good result. So as we can see from the new boys, Simbai, Ford and Grogan were able to get a bit of a game. And all in all, a good result. And the first time I think we've seen 70% in our possession totals. 24 shots, 8 on target. I think 3 goals from that tally was pretty good and a good result all round. Next came a game at home against FC United of Manchester, where we did have a fantastically quick start, which basically the highlight takes about 2 minutes to play out. We're not going to see it all. But what you will see is a very good, well-worked first 2 minutes of a game where we had almost all of the possession, constantly threatening. Ollie Shenton manages to squeeze round and find Connor Heath right on the goal line to slot it home. Very interesting kick clash between the pink of the goalkeeper and the red of FC United of Manchester. It's very hard to pick him out. But unfortunately for us, 26 minutes in, a penalty from Adam Lafondra, who must be about 93, managed to score a goal, and 1-1 was the score. So yeah, a difficult game to swallow that we win. It was a very close game, so maybe 1-1 was a fair result. But you felt that we had a real chance of winning that game. It didn't happen. And so on we went to Ilkeston Town, where in the second half of a game that took a long time to spring into life. And we gave the ball away. Porter, a ball chipped over the top, and Kirby Moore was able to slot home. That was a frustrating goal to concede. Porter was obviously acknowledging the fact that he made the mistake. And it looked like Ilkeston had done exactly what they needed to do. Things were getting really desperate, and we played the ball about at the back. Grogan, one of the new guys who is absolutely exceptional as a centre-back, played a long ball forward. We won the second ball when it came back, and Foxakande found himself through. Played it to Haywood, who gave it him back. He squared it across, and Hayden Campbell, in the 92nd minute, rescued a draw for Leek Town. So again, a game that we were the better side. 55% possession for Leek Town. 11 shots to their 9, 6 on target to their 2. Probably on account of the XG, we should have won that game. But having been down in the 92nd minute, I think we'll take the draw and then everything that it has to offer. So after 2 draws in a row, I decided not to bother showing you the next draw because there were no goals. Basically, another game where we absolutely dominated. We smashed Hyde United, and somehow we did not score a goal. We had 10 shots on target, 25 overall, 59% possession, and just couldn't break through. Pretty close to being a pretty good effort, but unfortunately not to be. Then we come to the FA Trophy again for the final game of October, where we took on Hales Owen. In the 16th minute, this is again a game where there was quite a lengthy build-up. But Edwards and Grogan starting the ball from the back. Find Buckley, who's playing on the left today. Nice little intricate passing between the guys at the back. Shenton, Buckley, charging forward. Nobody comes to him, so Campbell finds Connor Heath. And finally, we went from nice, gentle passing around at the back to a sudden cutthroat attack, and it proved very effective. 1-0 to Leek Town. Within a couple of minutes, Ali Shenton won the ball back, gave it to Porter. Weir plays the ball out to Simbai, who's picked up a knock by this point, but still fit enough to play. They played the ball back. Grogan again. Seems to be at the heart of every attack that starts, is this good, solid central defender. Porter finally gets the ball that falls through to Connor Heath. And once again, as you saw there, lots of passing around at the back, but when the ball went forward, it was with deadly accuracy and a comfortable 2-0 victory, in which 61% possession, 21 shots, 5 on target. A little bit disappointed with how many were on target there, but it was a comfortable victory. There is also mentioned that McComb got his debut there, and he's a player who has since retired. Must have been retired at a very young age, but so unfortunately I can't show you him. But yeah, I signed him on the recommendation of himself. He was a guy who popped into the stream and said, "I'm in the game, why don't you sign me?" So I found him. When we could afford him, we signed him, and he was okay. He did a job for us for a couple of seasons, but yeah, at this level, I think he fitted in nicely. And on to our final game of the SEGWAY episode, where we came up against Warrington Rylands. Warrington Rylands were a team pushing for the promotion spots, and not an easy team to beat. Waring played the ball through to Tiafo, and it was a pretty good goal, well worked by them. It wasn't to be the last goal of the game, as Leek Town were not to be denied in this game. Edwards swung a long ball forward, Onyeka picked it up, swung in the cross, Pierce met it at the far post, 1-1, cracking finish, and rescued a point really, but you would have liked to have seen us dominate and win that match. But it has to be said that Warrington Rylands were the better team. 58% possession, probably 13 shots each in that. I would say that the stats tell you that was a close game, and 1-1 was probably the right result. But still, I think that their possession probably overall showed that they were a little bit more comfortable on the ball and a little bit better than us. So that brings the end of our SEGWAY section, where we played a significant number of matches between, but there weren't many victories there. In the league, we only beat Morpeth Town and, who was the other one? Workington. The rest of them were either defeats or draws, so quite disappointed in the long run. We no longer held the top spot anymore, but sit in third place in the league. And it's still plenty of optimism about what's going to happen over the course of this season. And I look forward to showing you how the season progresses from this point on. So until the next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.